Hello and welcome into another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hickson. I am your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI and your host of this daily Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. And I'm so grateful to be joining you on this beautiful Tuesday morning. We are now roughly 9 hours away from Arizona State men's basketball tipping off against the TCU Horned Frogs in what is an absolutely consequential game for their season. If they lose, any hopes that they had of reaching the NCAA tournament are probably dashed, save for a miracle run in the Big 12 tournament. And the women's basketball program has a massive game against BYU just about 30 minutes before the TCU tip-off. The women's basketball team comes into Tuesday being considered the first team out, according to ESPN's Charlie Creme, uh, in his bracket. A win would go a very long way towards them officially clinching that coveted spot in the 68 team field. I feel as if it would be very controversial to leave a team out that wins 23 games in a conference as challenging as the Big 12. You can say what you want about their non-conference schedule, but they don't have any bad losses. Well, one bad loss, I guess, to Cincinnati, but they have a few impressive wins in the Big 12. They have a couple of impressive out-of-conference victories. And just the 23 wins in the Big 12, that's something that you cannot ignore. You just cannot ignore it, especially when a lot of the teams that are considered to be around your range in the bubble are teams that you defeated, such as a Colorado, such as Utah twice. Uh, if they lose, yeah, they're probably in trouble, but a win over Texas Tech or a brief run in the Big 12 tournament probably is enough to get them in, save for some bid stealers. But that leads us a segue into the meat of today's episode, which is discussing uh it's combine week for Arizona State football players, alumni that have been integral for the program for at least 2 seasons' time. Jordyn Tyson, Keyshawn Elliott, Keith Abney II, and Max Ahinachor are all taking part in combine uh, festivities this week. There probably are more Arizona State players that should have been invited. Uh, I'm thinking Shabbat Batayer. I'm thinking Jordan Crook. I'm thinking even Ben Coleman. There are a lot of Arizona State players that should have been invited relative to what actually was the case. But all four Arizona State players come into this pre-draft process either being long considered a legitimate day one or day two pick, or have recently risen up draft boards and are now in position to be just that. So, uh, early in the week, I think the focus is going to be on Keyshawn Elliott because I think he's going to take part in an media session, whatever you want to call it, Wednesday morning. The overarching focus is on Jordyn Tyson, however. Max Ahinachor and Keith Abney probably are going to be day two and perhaps even day one picks. Keyshawn Elliott has the chance to work his way up to a day one pick, but Jordyn Tyson's status is the thing that the NFL world is focused on right now. Um, as you all know, Jordyn Tyson has been considered a first round draft pick in this draft for over a year at this point. He had a phenomenal sophomore season for the Sun Devils in 2024. 75 catches for 1,101 yards and 10 touchdowns. He went into the 2025 season being considered among the top three receivers in the country alongside Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. he was well on his way to being considered the best receiver in the country last season had he not been hampered by a hamstring injury. And that is exactly what makes him a prospect to follow over the next 2 months because some teams are reportedly becoming a little bit concerned about his injury history. He did have that major knee injury the season before he transferred to ASU in his freshman season at Colorado. That forced him to sit out the 2023 season. He had a collarbone injury that forced him to miss the end of the 2024 season. And he had this hamstring injury that apparently seems to still be bothering him a little bit since Dane Brugler of The Athletic, reported on Monday night that Tyson will not participate in on-field workouts or drill activities, which means he won't be doing anything such as the shuttle, the 40-yard dash, strength exercises, bench presses, agility. He won't be doing any of that. Um, which I'm not entirely surprised with. Always felt as if he would probably be more inclined to do so um, at Arizona State Pro Day in mid to late March. The thing I am surprised about is that it's the way the report was framed makes it seem as if he's still not completely recovered from the hamstring injury, which leads me to believe that when Kenny Dillingham Uh, well, this made me straight up think that when Kenny Dillingham said that he's dealing with a tear in his hamstring, that he wasn't even overstating it or exaggerating it. That Tyson's hamstring injury was pretty significant. And the fact that he fought to make it back in time for the end of the season just tells me the type of competitor he is and the type of leader that he is, even though it was kind of short-lived and he um, exited the Arizona game early. He has that competitive fire in him, and I think that should take precedent over concerns of his injury history. I know that it does look a little um, concerning that he's had three major injuries during his collegiate career, but you turn on the tape and you see a dynamic receiver that really has the potential to be a day one top option in the passing game. You see a guy that, like I said, has that competitive fire to go out there and put it all on the line for his team. Uh, the type of leader that you want in your locker room, the type of guy that you want representing your organization. Those are the most important things for Jordyn Tyson to me. And this week at the Combine, his bowing out of athletic training and physical testing will probably pave the way for some of those uh, bigger questions to be answered because we know what kind of athlete he is. I just think that him going out there and doing that would confirm what we've seen. I think that over the next few days, teams will learn a lot more about his medicals and whether they are Will Johnson level concerning, which caused him to slip to the second round last year, or if it's more of just a thing that you can manage pretty seamlessly, or they won't have the injuries they suffered won't be of long-term consequence. And also the interview process, that'll be very important as well. I assume that Jordyn will have very good interviews because I think he keeps it very honest. I think that he has a humility to him. I think that he is a team first guy, and we'll see what happens over the next few days at the NFL Draft Combine. Until then, stay tuned for updates around the event with Arizona State on SI. And thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. And I will see you with another episode tomorrow. Thank you so much.